Welcome to a new episode of the DJwivesLV podcast. Make sure you subscribe on the podcast platform of your choice. Don't miss any updates. Follow DJwivesLV on Instagram. And now, coming at you from Las Vegas, let's begin.
Welcome, everyone. We are joined today by our good friend, DJ Presto One. We want to welcome you to our studio.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate that. Thanks for taking the time, and I appreciate the opportunity for being here. And let's go.
Let's go.
Yes. So we know you were born in Baguio City.
Yes.
And you immigrated. When was that?
You know, I was born in Baguio City, in the Philippines, just in case people don't know where Baguio City is.
Yes.
So I was born in Baguio City, Philippines, and I arrived here in 1986. So just to preface this, I was born in 1978. So I will be 45 this year.
Oh, good.
In a couple weeks, actually.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, but I came here in 1986. I was about 7.5, 8 years old. And English was actually my first language.
Oh,
My mother knew that I was going to be here in the U.S., so she didn't want me to have a hard time. She basically didn't want me to fob out
yeah.
like that. So
That's hard.
you know, and it's tough. But ironically, I do speak Tagalog fluently, or fluently enough, because everybody spoke it around me.
Nice.
I got to absorb it, even though everybody talked to me in English.
Nice.
Very cool.
Do people trip out when they hear you speak
Yeah,
Tagalog?
yeah.
I bet.
I mean, I usually just kind of like lay back and just let them speak, and then
Yeah.
I bust out of nowhere. And stuff like
You
that,
speak
you know?
Spanish too, or what?
Poquito, just
Not bad though. Not bad.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
a little bit
just
like
from
what?
growing up here. From
What?
growing up here, you know, growing up in the West and stuff like that, and most of my friends were Latin.
Yeah.
They're Mexican or Salvadorian, Nicaraguan, or whatever. And then, you know, some of you may know that Tagalog is Spanish based, a lot of it, you know.
Yeah.
So we say certain things the same way. So it wasn't that hard to adapt. But my Tagalog is a little bit more stronger than my Spanish.
Yeah.
So I want to know, when was your first exposure to hip hop?
Oh my. My first exposure to hip hop culture, or hip hop music, or just hip hop in general.
Either.
Oh, that's a tough one. Honestly, I was probably in the Philippines. I was in the Philippines, and we had we didn't really have really good reception. So I was, you know, when you tinker around with the receiver or the TV and you get static.
Yes.
So I was trying to get Transformers, but instead I got Run DMC.
Wow.
But it was all fuzzy anyway.
Right.
But it was Walk This Way by Run DMC. I'm like,
Nice, very
what is this? No, let's put it back on Transformers. But that was my earliest recollection of being exposed to hip hop. And then moving here to the U.S., you know, you would just hear things and stuff like that. And I guess my real exposure was watching Rap City when I was a kid, about 1988, 89. And I was like, awesome, their hair is weird. That's great. And I don't know this music, but it's cool.
Yeah. And so did that spark the fire for DJing?
Yes and no. There were so many different instances because, you know, yeah, watching music videos and watching MTV raps and stuff like that. They had DJs on there. And then, you know, we had flea markets, or they would say flea markets in the East Coast, and West Coast we say swap meets, right? So my mother took me to a swap meet, and there happened to be a DJ at the swap meet, you know, and he was making mixtapes for $10.
Oh my God.
And he would have a crate of records, and pick any records that you want out of this, and I'll make a mix out of it for $10. I'm like, Mom.
Oh, very So what was your first record that you bought?
Well, the first record I ever bought, well, okay, well, back to the swap meet thing. I had to make a mixtape,
Right.
you know, and I would just really play this mixtape over and over, and because I was just in awe. It's like, oh my God, he's putting these songs together that I picked out. It was like Another Bad Creation, and then Redhead Kingpin, whatever he had on there and stuff like that, you know. And then my friend had a house party, and he had a DJ, but he didn't want me to touch the turntables, look that way and stuff like that.
How old were you then?
I think when we went to the swap meet, I believe I was about 10 years old.
10.
Oh, wow.
And then,
oh yeah, so the
Wow,
love
early.
started early.
oh,
Very
really
early.
early, yeah.
Yeah.
Really early.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, house parties and stuff like that. They had DJs. I think I was like 11, 12 years old. And then a hip hop store finally opened in Las Vegas. I mean, we had a few here and there, so I always had a little bit of exposure. But we had this hip hop shop open called The Joint back in 1994.
Okay.
And you know, it was my chance to, you know, be around it. So my first record that I ever bought was Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force.
Very cool.
And I bought 2 copies because
You're supposed
I knew well, nobody told me to. I just really liked the song.
Oh, you just
so
wanted to.
It wasn't like I needed to. Like
Right.
you didn't have turntables yet.
No, I didn't have turntables yet.
Oh, so it wasn't.
Oh, that was a whole nother journey.
Oh, okay, that's different.
I was addicted by that point. I honestly, I wouldn't, my mother would give me like $5 a day for lunch money, but I wouldn't buy lunch. I would just eat when I got home. So I saved my lunch money. By the end of the week, I had enough money to buy some more records.
That's awesome.
And then when did you buy your first turntables?
I bought my first turntables when I was 16, but I didn't buy them as a pair. There was 2 different sets of people that had one turntable here, one turntable there. So it was very mismatch.
Yeah.
And the way I made that money to buy those turntables is I used to work at Sears.
Nice.
And I used to be the guy that would bring your huge TV to your Gremlin. you know,
Your what?
To your little car, basically. Like if you had a little car, but
Like he made it work.
yeah, I'm the guy that made it work. You know, I would go and
Shove
you know
it, like,
they
don't
buy
worry.
something,
Yeah.
and I would be, oh, here we go in the warehouse. All right, where's that TV at? You know,
Little part.
and I wouldn't know what I'm bringing it to. And yeah, I would just, you know, I'd be the guy bringing your purchase to your vehicle and load it into your car. And yeah, that's how I saved up for my turntables and stuff.
Interesting.
You must have had an influence though, because was there an influence like influential person in your life to tell you like, this is what you need, you know, or this is.
You know, yes and no. It was my cousin actually. So there were so many like different spots in my life that
Right.
kind of led to that, and it was my older cousin, and you know, my uncle used to pick me up, and I would just spend the weekends with him. And I remember going up to my cousin's room one day, and you know, I opened the door, and his back was hunched over, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he was cutting up this T-shirt. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to be a DJ. And I'm like, from cutting up a T-shirt? He was making a slip mat. He was cutting up he was cutting up one of his old T-shirts or a flannel or something like that, and he made a slip mat.
Wow.
So that was like, sure, yeah, it makes sense, whatever.
That's
So that was like my more in-person introduction, and you know, it got the wheels turning a little bit. Yeah,
Well, you're a well-known DJ now,
I do my best.
but when you were younger, did you envision yourself DJing, or was there another career that you thought
That's a great question.
you'd probably get into?
You know, back in the 90s, DJing as a career wasn't really a tangible thing. It wasn't like, you know, kids wanted to be a DJ and that's what I'm going to be for the rest of my life. You know, I would just see, you know, the guys in magazines and be like, oh, these guys are doing it and stuff like that. So actually my game plan in high school was I was going to be a teacher. You know, I was going to be a high school English teacher.
Very cool.
That was because I sucked at math. So I said, sure, English. I sucked at math. I'm like, all right, English makes sense. I could speak English pretty well. You know, and I had the plan laid out. I was like, all right, you know, I'm going to graduate high school and I'm going to go to college and get my degree in secondary education. And I'm going to be a substitute teacher on the weekdays and be a DJ on the weekends. That was like my major plan. The reason I got that plan is because when I first started DJing in '94, you know, buying records and going to the shop and stuff like that, there were other DJs, older DJs that would come in. And there was this one guy named Bazooka Joe. You know, he was more of like a pretty eclectic DJ and stuff like that. Anyways, one day I walk into school and he's my substitute teacher. I'm like, dude, what are you doing here? He's like, yo, I'm your sub. And I'm like, all right.
Oh my God.
You know, and that just resonated with me so much. I'm like, you can do this,
it.
you know?
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, he was like the initial blueprint, you know, to be a teacher DJ. Yeah. But ironically, today I am a teacher DJ.
Where?
I teach privately. Actually, I've been a teacher since 2000.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been teaching for 23 years. I definitely have many DJ babies out there. You know,
That's awesome.
that I've spawned into the world and stuff like that.
cool.
You know, because I've found that, you know, everybody wants to learn something, like, you know, as far as DJing and stuff
Right.
like that. And I wanted to teach the way I wish I was taught.
Yeah.
So that's how I teach. So I see myself as more like a big brother DJ, you know, to people who want to learn. I have a student right now that's already established in his life, and he's in his 40s. He's already ingrained in like the fashion industry. He has his life already decked out, but he said he needed something to feed his soul.
Music.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, music.
he came to me, and, you know, I always do a consultation with anyone that wants to learn from me.
Good.
Just so that we can see if there's any chemistry.
Right.
You know, so like, are we talking to each other right? Am I delivering my, you know,
Purpose of me helping you out.
yeah, am I talking to you right to where makes you want to learn from me?
Right.
Has there ever been a time where you clashed with someone and you decided,
You
this
know,
is not for me?
I've definitely seen them all. I've had students I've had people come to me and, oh yeah, I already know it. It's called BPM. Yeah, I got it. You know, so I'm like, well, why are you here if you already know?
Got it.
You know,
That's
so-
hard to kind of.
Well, I mean, some people just, I feel that some people want to be shown rather than be told, you know, or some people have certain expectations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, we all know that everybody just moves at a different pace.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I slamming on the table too much?
I want to talk about or know about any memorable ones or any ones that stand out for you that you're like, can look back and be like, I will never forget this night. Or
You know, in my old age, I gotta start digging. I remember.
you already said you're claimed your
one.
age for going to be 45.
Oh, yeah, you know, I'm very, you know, and I'm very grateful to be 45 and hopefully see 46.
Absolutely.
You know, I've definitely gone through my own health and journey, and every day I'm just grateful that I get to wake up and open my eyes and catch my first breath.
Do you want to speak on that?
Sure, absolutely, and I hope my story inspires somebody.
That's great.
Let's see, I was born with a heart condition. I didn't know about it till I was maybe 32, 33.
Oh wow.
So, you know, I'm a big stickler about just wanting to know what's going on. You know,
Right.
so I go to my doctor, and, you know, we do blood work and all this stuff.
Right.
And yeah, just wanted to go get my heart checked. And they said, "Hey, you have a heart condition." I said, "Really?" I have a condition called a bicuspid aortic valve. So, you know, it's hard for me to describe, but I don't have the same amount of valves as a normal person would. So my heart doesn't pump the same.
Got it.
My heart has to work a little bit harder just to be able to keep up. And, you know, they said, okay, well, you don't have to worry about it till you're like 50. I said, all right, cool. But in 2018, I turned 40, and that was a very life-changing year for me. Very traumatic year. I'll tell you this, keep your stress low. Do your best to keep your stress low. You know, if something is just really whack, just let it go. You know, so 2018, I was in a long-term relationship. We were engaged and we broke up.
Wow.
So that's very heartbreaking.
Yes.
And then 2 weeks after that, my mother passed away.
Wow.
So that just adds a little bit more stress. So, you know, at that point, my whole world just pretty much crashed and stuff like that. And then went for a regular checkup. My doctor says, your heart's failing. Oh, so here you go. Happens in threes, right? Weird. And, you know, I said, okay. Then, well, a doctor calls me up on a Sunday. What doctor calls anybody up on a Sunday? And he says, yo, we got to operate soon. I don't like the way this looks. So I'm like, and I was at a gig. I'm like, huh?
Wow.
So, anyways, long story short, we go through with it and stuff like that. So 2 weeks after I laid my mother to rest, doctor says heart's failing. Then 2 months after, I had my heart surgery. I have open heart surgery. And then oddly enough, there were complications.
Jeez.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was just one thing after another. And basically my wires broke. So my bones were floating around my chest.
Really?
And so they had to bring me back in because they didn't want to get infected. So they cut me open 3 more times to get the infection out. And, you know, at that point, I mean, I was just pretty much just crushed. I couldn't
Right.
work. So after heart surgery,
yeah.
you know, I couldn't work. I couldn't DJ any. And so I was just laid out. And I was just, you know, everybody was so generous while I was at the hospital. I had a GoFundMe and everybody contributed, and that really helped me out a lot. So thank you, everybody, if you're watching.
That's awesome.
And ironically, when the government shut down, they took all my money. So I was just like, oh, well, the stress. Anyways, you know, whatever. And then we managed to work it out. And then, you know, I'm trying to get back on my feet. And then 2020 happened and shut down.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what next? What's going on? So
that was the year before the pandemic?
Correct.
Oh, wow.
Correct.
And then you had to deal with like not even getting like your closest friend or families to even be around when you were kind of going through this roller coaster of a health journey. That how do you even try to go through the next day without feeling like what else can go wrong? You
Yes.
know? But I see like how you surpass everything. Like it's very awesome to see how you just live life with gratitude, which probably you realize that. So
Yes.
we appreciate your story here because it does come a lot to all of us, because even 45, health is a concern
Oh,
at any
absolutely.
age. But
Absolutely. And you know what? After all that, I came to this conclusion. That's why I got this tattoo.
I was
on my
going to ask
fingers.
you what that,
What is that
what
Which
that
is?
meant.
read it.
I can't see it. What does it say?
Then
What?
what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, went through, you know, the heartbreak and then lost my mom. A doc says my heart's failing. I'm like, all right, then what? What else you got for me?
I really respect you
Thank
with
you.
all the obstacles that you've been through.
Well, you know, it's definitely a tearjerker, but I want to. Well, I'm glad to be on this platform to show that, you know what. Now 2023, I'm in the best shape of my life. I've got people around me that love me, you know, and I'm blessed with so much opportunity, and I'm standing tall.
I want to know, like, how do you go through that? Like, what do you what is your drive to keep you going
Life, living.
and grateful?
Yes, gratitude. The attitude of gratitude really, really goes far. You know, some people are like, "Oh my God, I'm getting old," but I'm like, "Dude, you're still alive. Someone didn't wake up today.
Right.
True.
Someone, you know, even if I look at my fridge, I'm like, dude, I got food. I remember lockdown. You know how hard it was for everybody to go shopping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, like just stuff like that, or even getting a chance to be called for a gig while I'm DJing and stuff like that, or even having a chance here to share my story, and hopefully maybe somebody's getting inspired. You know, because, you know, everybody goes through tough stuff.
So I want to get your take on what happened with the DJ industry and how it changed pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, well, the DJ industry in general, or the DJ industry in Las Vegas?
Here in Las Vegas.
Ah, very good. Okay, well, the DJ industry in Las Vegas has always gone through many changes, many hands, you know. If we want to talk about the nightlife industry here in Las Vegas, it used to be really wild back in the day when AM was still around. DJ AM was still around. You know, and there was, I mean, it was just, money was just flowing like crazy in town. You know, it was just like surreal, like to be able to like, excuse me, make a living as a DJ here in town. And I still say to this day that DJ AM is definitely one of the main reasons why this style of like open format DJing is accepted and is paid for. Because anything prior to that, DJs weren't really taken as seriously in the club industry and whatnot. I mean, but it's so strange now because I feel that a lot more DJs now, post-pandemic, is that what we're saying? post-pandemic are more reliant on being part of an agency, you know, rather than before pandemic. I feel like more DJs were independent.
Well, do you think it has to do with maybe that's the easier avenue to getting a gig versus before?
Of course, yeah, it is the easier way, but it's also like, I mean, for me, I pride myself on being as independent as possible, you know. But I mean, that's a very funky question, just because it's like I've seen I've seen the industry change so much in this town, and so many fads, and you know, I've gone through the mashup era, I've gone through the EDM era, I've gone through the you know, I don't even know what era we're in right now, you know. And
so then what?
But like, yeah, thank you.
Then what?
You know,
Then
but
what?
I think the DJ industry in Las Vegas now is at another transformation, actually. I think that because you know, during the pandemic, it was just kind of relying on, you know, getting on Twitch and whatever else to be able to at least keep DJing and keep themselves relevant. Right. And then now, okay, let's get back in the mix. Yeah. But now you've got a bunch of like new DJs. I'll say, I mean, best way to describe is probably bedroom DJs who have never been to a club,
right.
You know, and probably so used to talking to their Twitch followers, but they don't know how to interact with a actual live venue, whatnot, you know.
Yeah. More pressure.
More pressure, correct.
And reading a room definitely
exactly.
does come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's so many DJs, and there's so many newer, younger DJs, and a lot of people come and go. And I mean, the only thing I could say is that the trends change, but also the people change.
Yes.
Sometimes the people who are at the helm of hiring are not there anymore. They moved on to something else. So now you've got, you know, Mr. So-and-so who probably does not have any nightlife experience or any kind of DJ experience, but they're just putting on like someone else who doesn't have experience.
And do you think it's gotten worse or better in that field?
Ooh, has it gotten
From your
worse?
experience?
I think it's gotten softer. You know, I think it's not as raw, I guess, you know, and I think that just kind of goes with everything else, you know, with music in general and stuff like that. But
thank you for your honesty.
Yeah.
And that leads me to one of my questions. It's you've been living here and you've been working in Vegas for so many years. Have you ever thought of moving to another city, or
you know,
back to the Philippines?
I've been asked that question, and you know, I used to think that when I was younger, before I started traveling. But you know, growing up in Las Vegas, you know, like, oh God, I'm so used to these casinos and you know, whatever, it's so dry and hot. Where's the green at? You know. But then as I got to travel, and you know, very fortunate enough to been picked up by like, you know, sponsors and stuff like that I worked with in the past, and I got to see the world. I got to see different countries, got to see different states, blah blah blah, and different cultures, and I found that for me personally, that I prefer Las Vegas. This is my home. This is where I'll be buried. I like to visit other places, but not necessarily live there.
Yeah.
You know, it just makes more sense for me in terms of, you know, not. I mean, sure, we could say convenience, but.
What do you love about Vegas, Las Vegas?
I mean, I love everything about Las Vegas. You know,
You're like a true local, then.
You
I mean,
are.
you weren't born here, but you're still. I feel like you're a true local.
oh man, I can tell you
One of
all
the
the stuff
OGs.
that went down on like the Strip. You know,
Yeah.
You know, I remember when we were kids. You know, the Strip was off limits for minors, and so we'd have to take the bus. Took the bus and got off at Circus.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that would be like the ultimate hangout spot.
Yeah.
Go to Circus, and obviously that's where all the stupid gang activity would happen and stuff like that. That's Circus. You know, but everybody also knew that if you went to Slots of Fun, this little casino right next to Circus,
remember
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you get free popcorn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just walk in and be like, all right, hey, what's up, guys? Popcorn. Go to the arcade.
Wow.
You know?
I miss when they had these little perks and like free stuff, but you took
Not
back the
anymore.
toys.
Yeah.
Correct.
Everything you gotta buy.
I mean, I remember when Excalibur was just built and
yeah.
and Luxor, and I'm like, why are they putting a castle and a pyramid here?
I actually remember that too.
And then we got New York, and I'm like, okay, it's starting to become Disneyland. What's going on?
That's what it is for adults now.
Well, you know,
and for kids though.
But I also remember the days when we used to have smoking sections in restaurants.
Oh.
We were just talking about that.
Oh, there
Smoking
was.
on planes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Remember?
Sections in the
Smoking
casino?
section in the
This
airplane.
is how Las Vegas I am. One of the first trips I ever took out of town, I think I went to like Oakland or something like that, or whatever it was. I was in the Bay, or I forget where I was, and I we went to go out and eat. I went up to the lady at the podium. I'm like, non-smoking, please. And she looked at me. She's like, yeah, everything's non-smoking.
Yeah, it's
like
changed.
Yeah,
It's
a lot.
changed.
But I guess the one thing I enjoy about Las Vegas, even though I don't partake, is just having the freedom.
Yeah.
The freedom. If I were a smoker, I can smoke indoors. If I were a drinker, I can walk outside with my drink.
Yeah.
You know, or if I'm really hungry at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't have to settle for a Grand Slam breakfast at Denny's.
Yes.
I can go to Chinatown and have some late night Korean barbecue. Why not?
That's what D Styles loves too.
Yeah. So if you're a major foodie, Las Vegas is
Yeah.
probably the move.
Yeah.
You bake, right?
Ah,
So,
very good.
Yeah, speaking of that, you make mochi desserts. How did
Yes, I do. I make fat girl cake. It's just, you know, it's
I love
it's very
mochi.
evil, addictive yellow cake. Yeah, I bake Hawaiian butter mochi.
Oh.
So, but ironically, I've never been to Hawaii.
What?
Oh, you need
I've
to go
never
now.
been to
You
Hawaii.
need to go.
Not even
It's a goal.
to visit, like vacation.
Never been to Hawaii.
Why not?
You know, I guess I've just been stuck here on the 9th island. The whole time.
It's pretty close.
You don't need
Yeah.
to
I
go.
know.
But you know, I have a lot of friends in Hawaii and stuff like that, and you know, they encourage me to go. I just, for the most part, I'm such a workaholic that it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's kind of hard for me to go on vacation. I have to work. I have to do something.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not there working, I have to be on my laptop or something like that. You know.
Really?
Well, maybe we'll go on a honeymoon one day. So my next question would be: we know you're single.
Yes.
You
How,
did.
who found that out?
You mentioned being engaged before, and I know you also dated within the industry.
Yeah.
Would you do that again, having done that in the past?
What, date in the industry? You know, I mean, industry, not in the industry, another industry. A lot of it's just chemistry. You know?
So you're open.
Yeah, I'm open. It's all about chemistry. It's I can't like generalize, you know, one experience, you know, based on, you know, whatever. You know, it's really just chemistry.
Because sometimes the schedules, you know, conflict or,
Correct.
you know, lifestyles. And
I mean, a lot of it also is just understanding, you know, the lifestyle of a DJ. Some people don't understand,
Yes.
you know. Somebody might be attracted, but they don't understand the lifestyle of a DJ.
exactly.
You know, in my line of work, especially working in nightclubs, you know, there's always, you know, some girl batting her eyes and stuff like that, and just, you know, can I get a song? Play Bad Bunny. What? But I mean, I see through it. I got the bird's eye view. I can see everything that's going on and stuff like that. So, you know,
Yeah.
I don't really let any of that deter me. But it's hard for, you know, someone to understand that.
Right.
You know, and I hear horror stories from some friends of mine. And they're like, yo, I don't know, man. She's bugging out. You know, like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something,
Right.
you know.
But even for like DJs of the opposite sex, you know, they might end up with a guy that doesn't understand.
Yeah.
You know,
true.
imagine what cocktail waitresses
It goes
have to go
both
through.
ways.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know what? I do remember one thing when I first met, one of the times I first met you, I think, it was at your house, like your birthday party.
Yes.
And I remember you telling me, because we have your birthday's the 25th, mine is the 26th.
Yes.
And I remember you saying, I make a goal for myself. I remember you. So when I think of you, I always think goal oriented
Yeah.
all the time, because you told me that you set goals for your birthday.
Yeah.
Do you still do that?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, you could say I'm a man of focus.
okay.
You know, I do set goals. Like, ironically, 2020, after my birthday that year, because I think we were still in lockdown and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
I said, you know what? By 2021, my next birthday present to myself is a new body.
Oh, okay.
That's my goal. So in order to have a goal, you have to create steps that'll lead
Yeah.
to that goal. You know, and
Discipline.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's a matter of perception. I think it's how you look at the goal. Do you see it as an ending or do you see it as a beginning?
Yeah.
Do you see, because some people are like, oh my gosh, no, I don't know if I could work out, I could diet. I love food so much. I'm like, well, yeah, so do I. I eat 6 times a day. You know, it just depends on, are you willing to admit and take accountability for your impulses?
True.
You know, are you, and are you ready to face the consequences for your impulses? You know, and if you are aware of your impulses, can you not act on them? You know, can you maybe not have that extra cookie or not have that extra bit of salt? You know?
Yes, ladies. Got that?
Speaking of your birthday, well, happy early birthday
Thank
to you
you.
guys. Because every year, Mark tells me he idols you, and you are one of the most admiration of him. He knows you as a DJ and as a person, but I just wanted
Thanks,
to
Mark.
say that. But every year, you always throw a party, get together where you would have fun games and arcades. Like, what is this year's party gig, if you're gonna have one?
Well, you know, as some people may know or may not know, 45 is a very big number for a DJ.
Yeah.
9.
You know,
Get it? I
I
get
get
it.
numerology. I don't know.
for a DJ, 45 is a big number.
the
Not
veil.
necessarily 50, but 45 is a big number for a DJ
Why?
because of
The vinyl.
DJ Wives.
vinyl.
That's what
45.
I was thinking, but
Yes.
I just like didn't know if there was something else.
No,
That's
it
pretty
is the
cool.
vinyl.
So it's gonna be a big one.
Well, I mean, I'd like to think it's a big one, but honestly, every day I get to wake up, it's
Yeah.
a big day, anyways.
So what's your goal on your 45th birthday? Since you have a goal every year.
I guess I'm looking at 45 or this birthday coming up, and as how do you say it when like a butterfly or caterpillar happens and stuff like that, you know, like when they just evolve. You know, I'm going through a state of evolution right now. So I guess I'm looking at it as like, okay, what else can I expand that I haven't done yet?
Yeah.
You know, not necessarily what can I pay for
Right.
in this year, like what else can I expand upon?
Got
You know, what other sections of this DJ world or fitness world can I jump into?
Yeah.
You know, by the time I'm 46.
Good.
You know, ironically, I was actually going to compete in bodybuilding.
Oh,
You know,
That's-
but I recently incurred some chest pains from like a muscle tear or something like that.
oh,
And then ironically, since we were talking about heart surgery, I might have to have heart surgery again pretty soon.
no way. We're praying for you, and everything's gonna
Thank
be
you.
fine. Everything, positive vibes.
Yes.
Appreciate that. So when I initially got the operation, they gave me an organic valve. I had a choice between an organic or mechanical valve.
Wow.
You know, so I got an organic valve, but they said, okay, well, it's only gonna last you 10 or 11 years. Okay, cool. So I got it when I was 40. I was anticipating to get another operation at 50. You know, I guess they said I after I had this chest pain, I'm like, oh, what's going on? Went to go see a doctor. Obviously, that's a practical thing to do, right? Doc says, hey, looks like the valve's not working the way it should. So a few days before my birthday, I'm actually going under the procedure. They're going to put me to sleep and then put a camera in there and see what's going on. And then after that, we'll move forward, you know? So really a part of my 46 years is, you know, see how well I can jump back on
Yeah.
and get back on my feet and expand.
Yes.
But yeah, I have to go through surgery again pretty soon.
Fortunate, but
But I'm getting the mechanical valve this time. So I'm really going to be like bionic. I'll be like Tony Stark on this.
Yes, definitely.
Well, we're going to wish you the best.
Thank you.
Always the best.
One final question. The Strip or downtown
Downtown.
Las Vegas?
I feel like you got more freedom to express yourself downtown. I mean, from my experience on the Strip and working in the mainstream club scene, you know, there's a lot of big money going on and stuff like that. So if, you know, so-and-so billionaire from Dubai wants to, you know, buy $10,000 worth of bottles and wants to hear Sesame Street, you have to do it. I'm like, I got to play Sesame Street? Are you serious? You know? But on downtown, you get a little bit more freedom. You get more creative freedom, and it's definitely a lot. It's more local based. You know, I guess laid back would probably be the better word.
Yeah.
You know, and I get to be more in touch with the locals. I got some regulars that come see me and stuff like that. So I get a chance to build a fan base rather than, you know, playing at a club on the Strip. It's more transient. You know, it's like, oh, okay, I will never see you again in my life. Maybe, unless you hire me to go to your place. You know?
Makes sense.
But yeah, downtown, definitely. I'm a big fan of downtown. I mean, I love playing on the Strip as well, but yes, downtown, you know, you got all these little nooks and crannies. Oh my God, I didn't know that was a club the size of a closet, you know?
Right.
Yes. Makes very sense. But I like downtown too.
Yeah, downtown's
I'm
fun.
agree with you
Yeah.
on that one.
Girls, downtown,
Yeah,
no?
I don't
downtown
like
it
going to
is.
the Strip. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've asked this question, and people said that they, you know, anyone local prefers to go on the Strip if there's something big. If it's something that's probably worth it,
Like a concert.
you know? Yes.
Whatever. Yeah.
You know, if Stevie B was playing at Hakkasan, darn it, we're going there. I'm a mess.
And one more thing. 3 songs that describe you.
Oh, wow.
Three
That
songs.
came out of nowhere.
Question.
Because the last time we... Yeah.
3 words, but not,
Yeah, it was hard for them. 3 songs that describe you. I just want to know.
Well, one of them would have to be a song my mother dedicated to me. And it's called Me and You Against the World
Nice.
by Helen Reddy.
Oh,
It's a very sweet song.
Very cool.
Now I'm going to cry.
That can just count as
I'm
one
gonna
song, and I'm done.
play that
Like, that's
song.
good.
Yeah, if you get a chance to check it out, it's Helen Reddy, Me and You Against the World. And it was her dedication to me. Sinatra, My Way.
Okay. Okay.
And let's see, third song. Gee. Kumo D, Go to Work.
there you go.
There you go.
Were you able to come up with an answer
was that word again?
to the question of the most memorable gig?
One of the things I could say I was proud of is I looked up to Q and Mike, or Qbert and Mike, Mixmaster Mike, and Shortcut Apollo Dave, you know, for so long. And, you know, growing up, I was such a fan of the Rocksteady crew. You know, I came up as a B-boy, and was it 2000? I finally got to be part of Rocksteady crew, you know, so I was also a Rocksteady DJ. And you know, I wanted to give back to the crew just to, you know, thank them for the opportunity of being part of such a legacy in hip-hop culture. You know, anyone that understands hip-hop culture in true essence knows that having the last name Rocksteady Crew is a huge honor, and it was for me, and it is for me. I'm still a member of Rocksteady Crew. At least I think I am. You know, Legs hasn't said anything, but I could say that one of the most memorable times in Rocksteady was I wanted to give back to the crew, so I created a fundraiser that Crazy Legs already started in New York called the Yes We Can, which was a canned food drive that he does in New York, you know, every winter and stuff like that. So I wanted to bring that here and bring that to the community here. So, you know, I went through all the proper channels and I talked to someone in the city, and I managed to get Rocksteady Crew the key to the city, you know, and our own holiday.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know.
Yeah. So I got Rocksteady, and I think it's February 21st. That's a Rocksteady Crew Day in Las Vegas.
We'll remember that.
So I think trying to remember, but you know, just to have been able to do that in the name of the passion for hip hop and giving to the community, that we were able to land our own holiday and a key to the city.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that was that. And you know, it led to so many things and whatnot, and that was just one of many experiences.
It's a great one to remember.
Yeah, it was a great
That's a good one.
Yeah.
You picked a good one.
Well, we wish you all the best, Presto.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.